I'm just about done cleaning and deleting the intakes on this 3.0 Sprinter, and we're about to install an upgraded Garrett brand new turbo that has some differences, and I wanted to show you those differences. It's pretty cool. So if you don't know, my name is Clay with YouTube, The Clay Way, here in Grand Rapids, Muskegon, Western Michigan, and I do some really trick stuff with these sprinters. I make a 50-state compliant delete process so you're not in limp mode. I'm going to clarify that so the EPA does not come after me. It's 50-state emissions compliant intake swirl flap delete process. It's pretty trick. Check out the video in the description below. I make bolts to hold down the injectors. If you've ever watched my show, you know carbon builds up down on the bottom of the injectors and it strips out the bolts, and they're about 4 inches long. And you can't put red hot on that or helicoil it. Obviously, I install upgraded turbos, and I know from experience that if anyone else can do it, you can do it too. Stick to the end of this video and I'll show you more about that stuff, but right now we're going to talk about this kick-ass turbo. So I thought I would take this time to show you guys the difference between these two turbochargers for your Sprinter, and I'm going to explain to you how you can put one of these turbochargers, the Billet aluminum turbochargers, on your old Sprinter and show you why it works. Here is the old and new side-by-side comparison. This turbocharger has 500,000 miles on it. It's a Garrett turbocharger. It's factory, completely understandable. If you ever question if your turbocharger is bad, you grab this shaft and you move it left to right, up and down, in and out, and if it has any play in there, it's bad. This turbocharger is good. So I've got a good core that I can put on or rebuild. This is the old turbocharger, looks identical, except this one looks brand new. I'm going to tell you the different ways you can get a hold of me to get one of these if you want one, down in the description below, but this really isn't a video about selling you turbos. They're about 18 or 1900 bucks at this time. Used to be when I started buying these, I could buy them for about 1100 and I would convert that into, 1300 for the customers. Unfortunately, I can't do that anymore because they're just jacked all the way up and I can't even make the extra money on them, but they are seriously kick-ass. They do make a big difference. Along with my injector cleaner, you're not going to have any problems. And when I say injector cleaner, I mean physically removing them, disassembling them, and cleaning them. Yeah, it's not the easiest of tasks. So far, I've only ruined 6 of them trying to figure it out. That's only about, I don't know, maybe $800-900 a piece. The good thing is, just like my wife, I've got it licked. So, now your older Sprinter models, they're not have this bung right here, okay? That bung is going to be blocked off. This is like your 2006 to 2008 or 9 OM642 3.0 CRD diesel engines. I say that for the algorithm. Pressure sensor, it's either a pressure sensor or exhaust temperature sensor. I get it confused and forget more than most people ever knew. So yeah, I don't remember. For your reference, that's called the upstream EGT, exhaust gas temperature sensor. What you would do is you'd fill in that hole. The block off for that would be 14 millimeter by 1.5 pitch. But anyways, these things are seriously kick-ass. They look identical. They've got a bigger bore, just a little bit, and they just kick more ass. So I have 2 turbos that look pretty much identical, but they're not. They are totally different. Here on this one, we have a cast intake for air. Here on this one, we have all aluminum. Here on this one, we have a different fin and blade design. Here on this one, it's got a different angle to it to get rid of turbulence, surging effects. There's some different vane mechanisms down inside these. They make this a lot better. To see the differences or feel the differences, you literally Just run your finger up into the hole. Maybe I should use two. This is no longer scratchy. You don't have a lot of opposition in here. It's a much, much more crisp feeling. I don't personally produce these, but my assumption is that the new upgraded turbo is probably done with the CNC opposed to a cast that is blown into sand. And the results between the two are much different. And we all know turbulence, air movement is key and critical. Along with doing my intake swirl flap delete cleaning, it's a no-brainer. This angle is a lot sharper. This angle, not so much so. But that improves the airflow through there and the turbulence that it creates as it generates your spool. So, air goes in, happiness comes out, and when you're not using cast like this, that you can't get quite as smooth, you have more air restriction, where this is polished, very free-flowing, where this isn't. This is kind of scratchy. Here on the compressor wheel portion of this, we have sharper edges, thinner blade profile right here compared to over here. Now that is all reference to the cold side, but what about the hot side? Well, there's not a lot of things that changed from then and now. However, there are people out there that don't even understand how a turbocharger works. So I'm going to break it down a little bit for you. And then I'm going to tell you about all the cool shit that I make. This is how a turbocharger works on any type of vehicle, but specifically here on the Mercedes Sprinter NV3 OM642 3.0 diesel. It takes fresh air from here, goes underneath here, through the air box, is metered by your mass airflow sensor right here, leads down, goes into the turbo, then that tube feeds into that turbo right there, and it sucks the cold air in here. Now, your exhaust comes out from that manifold right there through here, into there, and then it turns this here. And when that wheel spins up in there, it's grabbing it and pulling it in there. And as it pumps it out through here, down what's called your intercooler right there, which cools it down because it's exhaust air, and then up into your throttle, making a big boom and a bunch of pressure, forcing a bunch more fuel and combustion inside the cylinder. It's pretty sick. As I said before, air goes in and happiness comes out. That's why you make so much extra power when you use a turbo. Now with them sitting side by side, there's not a whole lot going on here in the back because something good doesn't need to be refined. However, I think that this is a two-piece wheel and this is a solid billet wheel, meaning that this is made out of steel and aluminum, whereas in this one is made all out of aluminum. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere. Anyways, this is pretty cool. I'm going to get done with this guy's van, get it back on the road so we can go for a test drive. Let's check out some of the other stuff I do and exactly what I mean by intake delete. I'm going to put a link to this down in the video below, and no, this video is not sponsored by Diet Mountain Dew. It just seems to happen to be laying around everywhere. Basically, I take these intakes, I clean them up, and I remove these swirl flaps. Then I build new linkage so the ECM thinks they're still there. What this does is it decreases low-end torque. However, it raises engine MPG. It doesn't really affect its high-end horsepower or torque because as your engine runs and it's off of idle, these are supposed to open up. But what happens is carbon gets down inside these pins in here and you can't get it out. I know some idiot on the internet says you can power wash these, but if you do decide to clean them yourself, leave them sitting out for 3 days and see if the linkage that was stuck that you cleaned and you got it to work moves again. It won't. Then you get a hold of me on the Facebook Messenger under Clay's AC and Auto Repair and send me a DM and I'll show you how to fix these things. Once I do the delete, they won't ever lock up again, so no more limp mode. Actually, I fixed them for you. These videos make about 0.2 of a cent per view, and I do want to make good videos to help people. And you can't make any money off of that, so I kind of throw this stuff in here. I apologize to seem so salesmanish. I don't need any work. Hey, don't worry about me. You can hit the super thanks down below. You can turn the volume down on these videos, put on one of my Clayway playlists and let it play at night. That would be sick and dope. That'll help my channel. Also, putting a crappy comment down in the comments below, that helps me too, and it don't bother me a bit. One of the other impressive things that I do on these vans is down here on your injectors, there's a bolt. There's a single 6mm bolt that holds these injectors down. And that 6mm bolt is about, I don't remember the actual millimeter lengths, but if I remember right, it's about 4 inches long. And that bolt will strip out. And what generally happens is you think to yourself, well, I'll just helicoil that. But have you ever tried stacking helicoils on top of helicoils? No quarto. So what I've designed and developed over the years is a bolt that taps and redoes the threads. I've re-engineered and laid out the bolts so they're larger, but because they're going into aluminum and because they're like self-drilling bolts, they tap these out, so there's no need for that. But I'm very proud of the things that I do, so they're not the cheapest thing in the world. Plus, they come in as a kit. I'm going to produce a video on that here in a bit, but they're really cool, and they're called them one bolts. My idea is to come up with a line of bolts that when you're doing aluminum type things, they hold them down there. So if I call them one bolts, and then I think of some name that's proprietary to the bolts for this for Mercedes, because it's the same bolt on all the Mercedes diesels. And it does the same thing on all the Mercedes diesels because the carbon gets up underneath the O-rings underneath there and pushes up on the injector or stripping out the bolt. And at Mercedes, they'll only replace the head. They won't repair it. Some shade tree guys will try to repair it with some helicoils, but I'm here to tell you, the fuel going through this engine's over 20,000 PSI. You're not repairing that bolt with the freaking 1/4 inch long helicoil. But anyways, that's besides the point. It's still pretty kick-ass what I did. And when you go into the parts store and you say, hey, I need one of them bolts, one of them one bolts, I think it'll be pretty funny. So yeah, they got a stupid name to them, but whatever. I'm kind of silly and stupid too, so, you know, what do you want? Another thing that I do is you ship me your injectors, I disassemble them, and I clean them from the inside out. Pretty soon I'm going to be producing a video about that that's going to be extremely interesting, where I show you the compression reading prior to me doing the cleaning on the injectors and after I do the cleaning on the injectors on my van back here. Usually about 250,000 miles, they start getting carbon shoved up inside the tips of them things, and it really limits the amount of performance from your van, plus it kills your fuel economy. All of these things I do are designed and implemented to improve the performance, fuel economy, and I don't think any of them that I do lowers the fuel economy at all. So if you're interested in that, I can't help you with baby mama drama, but you can look me up on the Facebook Messenger. Send me a message under Clay's AC and Auto, or if you don't have Facebook, and a lot of people don't have Facebook, you can send me an email to thenewclayway@gmail.com. I don't really look for people to bring me vans, but if you do want to bring the van, I'm near Grand Rapids, Michigan. I keep my address kind of private because I can't have mofos showing up all the time unannounced. I'm a rambler, if you can't tell from this video, so we can't have that, but I will give you my address if we end up doing business together. Hey, I hope you guys dug this video. If you do, please consider subscribing, hitting the super thanks, sending me them thumbs up, send me all whatever, commenting down on the bottom of the video. Don't be the next to them, be the absolute first of you. And if anyone else can do it,
you can frickin' do it too.
God bless, folks. Have the absolute best of days.